Good day and welcome back to another DBZ Dokkan battle video. In this video we're going to be taking a look at the performance of AGL Bardock, AGL Transforming Bardock, and how he does basically with quite a few big buffs to his overall team. Since he's come out, he's had the easy A's for the team Bardock. He's had a 200% lead added in the form of Tech Bardock, who links great with him after transformation. He's had Fasha and he's had Int Tora added. So he's had a pretty big kind of boost to his overall performance and his team and just him in general. My Bardock has 2 copies in him, so we'll be looking at him at 79%, and Bardock looks pretty interesting. I think he's a good unit, very situational, a little bit more orientated towards long form events, but I think he could be very, very good. With an easy A, he could potentially look even better. So Bardock is a revenge or low class warrior lead of 4, key and HP of 130% with attack and defense of 170%. Just changing all of this to 170 will be great across the board. Revenge category not being very strong, so this needs a bit of work. Then in terms of his super attack effect, he raises defense permanently, and in terms of passive, he has attack and defense of 120% with an additional attack of 10% per low class warrior ally on the team. He has attacks effective against all types when there is a wicked bloodlines category enemy. So pretty decent stuff. He has a transformation which can be activated from the 4th turn regardless of any effect, or just immediately if you're facing a wicked bloodlines enemy, which to be honest with you is pretty good. It's a very meleeable, very easy to use transformation, and you can activate it after you've built up defensive stacks, and then Bardock will carry those defensive stacks over to his transformation. In his base form, he has same warrior race, same lineage, same pride, family ties, experienced fighters, prepared for battle, and fierce battle as his links. When he transforms, he will exchange 2 of those. Same warrior race will become Super Saiyan, and experienced fighters will become the first awakened. Once transformed, he has attack of 180%, defense of 100%, attacks effective against all types when attacking extreme class enemies, key +3, and an 18% chance of critical hit, evasion, and damage reduction of 18% for 5 turns from the start of turn. He then has an additional attack that has a high chance of becoming a super attack and will guarantee all attacks are critical hits when there is a wicked bloodlines enemy. He will stop raising defense permanently and instead raise his attack and defense for 1 turn. So, yep, Bardock, to cut a long story short, is decent. I don't actually want to knock Bardock because I think he just came out at a meta shift, and some units that tend to come out in meta shifts do tend to struggle a little bit. Especially sometimes the same day units, they're either really strong or they're really not that great, and they kind of tend to exist on this land between 2 very distinct possibilities, because either the same day unit's kind of underpowered because of the fact that it's shared with global, or it's overpowered because of the fact that it's shared with JP, but it neither coexists at the same time, and because they kind of cut the difference, they end up being kind of average. Not too strong and not too weak, and Bardock is kind of in that vein. Bardock himself honestly is not a bad unit. His leader skill is probably his weakest part. Personally speaking, I think the revenge category is a silly category. Like, it makes sense because there's a lot of revenge units in like Dragon Ball Z, but they don't provide it with any synergy. There's very, very minimal supports or access to even base level supports. The only one is Mecha Frieza from the World Tournament, and although he has the potential to be very good after his World Tournament awakening, it just is very, very limiting for him as a unit. But hey, to each their own. One good thing that has occurred for Bardock, so we'll just take a look here. 2 million is his attack stat. Not bad, not great, not bad. He does have his full low class warriors buff. He doesn't have a lot of links active. He doesn't have support on the rotation, but 2 million is not bad. It's really nothing crazy, but it's really not too bad. And his starting defense was at around 120k, which again also isn't spectacular, but isn't terrible. Bardock's main issues that he has as a unit exist with 2 things. One, he doesn't have Team Bardock as his link. This doesn't sound like a hindrance, but it kind of is, because not only is he not on Team Bardock, but he also doesn't have the Team Bardock link, because obviously this Bardock is technically from the special where he takes on Chill, which again isn't usually a huge issue, but when a lot of the units that come out tend to have this link, for example Tech Bardock, for example, you know, any of the Fasha or Tora units that come out, you tend to now have a little bit of a problem. You can see here Bardock's up to 154,000. Honestly, pretty good after just one turn. He does have a lot more links active here, some pretty strong ones as well, with it being Sand Pride, Family Ties, which is a very powerful link. Experienced Fighters is not active, but Prepared for Battle, Fierce Battle, Sand Pride, Sand Lineage, and Sand Warrior Race are all active. But generally speaking, Bardock looks a little bit better here. Obviously his attack stat went up, and he's got quite enough links really to make him look a lot better. His defense will continue to raise, which is good, but Bardock is definitely more designed towards long form events. Bardock also tends to shine with obviously having more dupes in him, but the big issue that we have with Bardock is generally speaking just his low stats, and nowadays his passive doesn't really make up for that enough, and his situational really strong abilities don't count for that either. So for example, when he transforms, having only 18% damage reduction isn't enough to really take the edge off of strong enough attacks, and it's the same with his evasion and his crit. Like, they're nice, but they're not great. Double those, like double all of those, and just make them permanent, and immediately Bardock's EZA, just doing that, plus the stats, would probably be sitting in a good place. Like, that's the thing with Bardock. He's got the kit to look really impressive. Something like a very similar level of unit to God Goku, where he'll do a little bit of everything, which is always appreciated. But I think the big thing is just making him get there. Other than that, I do like Bardock. I like the concept behind him. I like the animations, and I like the way he functions. Having a strong defensive base form and a more offensive transformation skill is very good. It resonates with AGL LR Gohan. It resonates with a lot of units, so I don't think there's an issue in that. It's just that personally I think from Bardock's perspective, maybe there's just, yeah, he's maybe just too weak in terms of overall stats. But we're going to see pretty strong performances from him. Yeah, you can still see a very strong usability to him. This is him obviously stacked up. He's got 397,000 defense, which is good. He can stack to a high point. He's useful for events. You can see him here. He's going to be very useful in these events. He's going to look really good. He's got 18% damage reduction, 18% crit chance, 18% evasion. Nothing wrong with Bardock at all at this stage. He's also going to raise his attack and defense on a super attack. 2.7 millions, not bad. So yeah, just in general a good unit. I think what they can do is they can make him raise attack on his super attack as well in his base form, and this will generally solve everything to do with his transformation. So by allowing him to stack both in base and then by allowing him to transform, you'll then have a pretty strong version of Bardock, I think, overall. All his pseudo effects, you just need to raise the percentages slightly and Bardock will look great. Even if you make it 36% attack, damage reduction and evasion for 10 turns or even 7 turns from the start of turn, that's still more than enough considering you'll only transform Bardock near the end of your harder events. That plus the stat boost will probably put him in a really strong position. So yeah, I think Bardock looks really good. In terms of his links, this is where things become a little bit more difficult for him. So in his base form, he has Prepared for Battle, which is good. Fairly strong link, obviously links well with Hybrid Saiyans, Pure Saiyans, all of them kind of share these links. Fierce Battle, very good. Saiyan Lineage and Saiyan Warrior Race, very good as well. He then has Saiyan Pride, which although a strong link is a little bit more uncommon to get, and Experienced Fighters is probably one you're not going to activate too often. It's not a bad link, it's just relatively difficult to get. Some Gokus and Vegetas have it, which you can technically get Bardock to link up with, but it's not really something that I would suggest you going crazy on. And then, of course, alongside that, we also have, family ties, which is probably, although a strong link, the weakest out of the bunch. Very few Gokus and Bardocks have this. Now, there are a couple Bardocks that are getting their easy A's, which should help out overall. But there is a little bit of a problem with, how the whole team kind of functions. So that is a little bit of a shame. Obviously, with the easy A's to the other Bardocks, I think he then sits in a better position. But family ties up till that point is a relatively weak link. It's not something that's going to blow your mind. But generally speaking, it's okay. It's like a decent link that kind of sits in a good position. And other than that, Bardock, pretty good. I think he's a fairly strong unit. I think he's a fairly decent unit. I do think he lacks the stats really to kind of be where he is, and I think if they just easy aim, make him stack attack on the base form, and just double everything in his transformation, like in terms of the attack, evasion, and the crit, he'll look pretty good. Transformation wise, the links are also relatively solid. Still has prepared for battle, still has fierce battle, still has Saiyan pride, still has Saiyan lineage, and just gained Super Saiyan, which replaces Saiyan warrior race with another common attack link. First Awakened is probably the worst link out of the bunch there, because it's honestly just really difficult to get, and it's just not easy to access at all. But he does share it with a couple Bardock units, so that does help him out overall. But I would say that is basically it when it comes down to it. I think Bardock looks pretty good. I think he's definitely improved with his options, but I do think as a unit he does still need a little bit of a boost, and whether that comes from easy A's would probably help him out overall. But I think with all the buffs coming to him, I do think there is space for him to grow. But that's basically going to be it. There's not really too much else to mention. Obviously, I'd love to hear what you guys think about Bardock, where you think he kind of sits on the spectrum of units. I do think with Tech Bardock's release, he does look a lot better. I do think he's got a stronger leader skill. I think with Intora, with physical fascia, and with all these Bardock easy A's, I think he looks better. But that's going to be it from me. Love to hear what you guys think, and I will see you guys in the next video. So until then, take care, stay safe, and bye.